Welcome to a board breakdown of the ASRock B450M Pro 4, the only motherboard I own so far. Let's get straight into it, right? VRMs. So this is your VRMs. This is your V core specifically, and you have a bank of high sides and a bank of low sides. Your high sides, which are over here, are SM4337s from Sinopower. That's the name, Sinopower. That's what they are. The other ones are SM4336s from Sinopower. Now they have a public data sheet, but when I try to click on them, that's all that happens. So I have no information for you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about their switching frequencies, their efficiencies, their temperatures that they put out at certain ampere and the water throughputs and all that. Saddens my heart, but yeah, that's how that works. I can't get any info. I'll update you if I do. So yeah, this is your capacitor bank. These are LR60s, and yeah, so I couldn't find any info on those either. So I'll try to, and if I do, I'll update you. So interesting thing about this VRM, you have 6 of every component, right? You'd assume that this would be a 6-phase. However, no, this is not a 6-phase. That is because this here is a Intersil 95712 controller, which uses can do 1, 2, 3, or 4-phase V core and 1, 2, 3, or 4-phase SoC, which is over here. And that means that this can't be 6. So what this could be would be 4, and these just, like, 2 of these just don't work. But I looked at the traces on the back of the motherboard, and what it showed me was that you have really like 2 points on each capacitor. Well, actually, and they're kind of like this. They're kind of diagonal. And these are all your ground points. Here on this side, these are all ground points. So let's just like go and write G. So it just connects to like ground, right? However, on here, these all have traces that go together. And legitimately, I kid you not, the traces connect each of these two, and then they go out to the CPU. That's what I saw on the motherboard, and what this tells me is that this is a 3-phase, because the controller can do 3 phases, and it's connected and hooked up as a 3-phase. So you're paying $85 for a 3-phase motherboard, which isn't great. And what that means, without having any like power or thermal or efficiency figures here, is that 4 cores will be fine, 6 cores will be fine. Hyper-threaded or not hyper-threaded, doesn't matter. However, once you get to 8 cores, oh, now it starts to get a little bit tricky, because 8 cores pull more way more power than a 6-core or a 4-core, and you only have 3 phases here. So running at stock, like a 2700X would really push this, even with the heatsink that it has, which isn't terrible. It would really push this hard. And that's like with, because this does have Precision Boost and 2 and XFR2 features. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this for an 8-core. 6-core would be okay with some light overclocking. 4-core, yeah, go for it. The only thing is just that it's not going to be nearly as good as like a 4-phase or a 6-phase or an 8-phase motherboard, because you're pushing like you have a less flat line of voltage being delivered to your CPU, right? So you have to run higher just to make sure that it meets like that minimum dip between each like phase turning on. So yeah, not ideal, especially for $85. And I don't know why ASRock doubles it. Probably just to look cool. It's a marketing thing. But yeah, that kind of sucks. But oh well, it is what it is. We'll see if the rest of the features make up for that, huh? So yeah, 97512 controller, or 95712, excuse me. And then this is another 3-phase by the looks of it. I couldn't see by the traces, but I'm going to take this one at face value because it doesn't look as cramped or as like weirdly done as this one. So if this is running a 3+3, this would also be a 3-phase for your SoC. And for APU, like overclocking. Oh, by the way, these are SM 4337s, SM4336 on here for your MOSFETs, and same LR60 capacitors. For APU overclocking, if you don't like take an Vega 11, try to push it ridiculously, this will work fine. You do want some airflow over this, and luckily it has a right heatsink to aid with that. More of like an actual like finned heatsink rather than just like a aluminum block, which is nice. But yeah, you will want some airflow over this, especially if you're overclocking it, just to like keep this cool. But yeah, super high OC is not ideal, but it'll be all right with some airflow. But yeah, that's your 3-phase. Let's move on to memory. So yeah, SoC is fine for, well, we'll do a recap later. And then this is your memory. You have your SM4337s here. 2-phase, it looked like. I couldn't validate from the traces, but it looks like a 2-phase, which is fine for memory. Memory will run off of pretty much whatever you give it. It doesn't take that much. It doesn't have, crazy power requirements. So yeah, VRM in review. V-core lacking, but acceptable for 6-core and under. SoC VRM will definitely handle anything that is not an APU, and even when it comes to APUs, you just want some, if you want to start like bumping up frequencies pretty high and voltages pretty high, you will definitely want some airflow over this to prevent it from overheating. Memory VRM, it is fine. So yeah, that's about it for VRMs. Just get some airflow, you'll be good. Don't go too ham on the overclocks. Now let's get onto power connectors for this board. You just have your 2. We have your 8-pin, which is fine, and then you have your 24-pin, which is standard. Yeah, now let's go into fan connectors. This gets cool because you actually have 5 and they're well placed and they're all 4 pins. So here's one, or actually 2 of them for your CPU. There is 2 of them down here, lower to the motherboard. Actually, I've covered that up. You have 2 there, that's also 4 pin, and you have 1 back here. Fiddle. And that leads to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for $85, I would say that 5 that are all 4 pin and in decent locations, personally, this is subjectively saying, I like these locations and they make sense. Great, I like this. This works. These 2 work great for like these CPU and like a water pump, or just the CPU and like a top fan. Front fans will route here, which is fine. It'd be nice, like if they were here, that would work better, but this also like provides like bottom fans, which is not common, but yeah. So it would have been nice if they were there, but oh well. It also works down here, that's fine. And then this one is really handy for having a rear exhaust fan, which is super common on pretty much every case. So yeah, good job on ASRock for these. Good use for $85. That's good. Now for other connectivity, let's go to storage. You have 4 SATA ports. A little bit light, but then again, this isn't like a super heavy workstation board, so, or like server board, so 4 should do you fine for all your needs. Yeah, especially since you have these 2, which are 2 M.2 ports that can use different size or lengths of M.2 SSD. That's great. Like honestly, and they don't provide any heat shield, which is fine, because as long as you have a little bit of airflow, the flash will get cooled, and the controller will get cooled, and the flash won't get like too cooled, because you want the flash to run at like operating temperature. It's like a car engine; you gotta have it at a certain temp to work, or to have its maximum lifespan. So yeah, if you're using especially a downfire cooler like one of AMD's, that'll work great. It'll have airflow for the VRM and these. Well, more so the M.2 here, not as much this one, but just a little bit is, yeah, it's nice. So yeah, that's your storage. Let's go to, this is your PCI. So of course you have your 1x. This is an PCIe 3.0 by 1. That's why that thing's so tiny, by 16. And this is by 8, I believe. That says PCIe 3. Yeah. So here's a good note for this, is that when you're running an APU, you have 12 PCIe lanes. It's not very many. You have 8 for a graphics card if you choose to use one, which won't throttle the graphics card unless you're using a 2080 Ti or Titan V in this, which in that case, like, what the hell are you doing? Or like a RX 580 or whatever, like up to maybe like a 1080, this won't bottleneck it, a by 8 connection. But what that also means is that if you have an M.2, you can't really run 2 graphics cards. Not that you really should, but yeah, with an APU, you can't do that. With another processor like a 2600, you could totally do that. You could totally run 2 graphics cards if you wanted. They, however, would not be running super fast, or at least one of them would be throttled for bandwidth. I know that much. If you're using an M.2 SSD with it, like one would be at by 8, the other would be at by 4 or something, which works fine for Crossfire. Like SLI might get picky about that, but yeah, that's your connections for this. You can even like you can actually even see like how it's wired up. Oh shit, so I might have been wrong. This could maybe even only be a by 4 connection. Yeah, actually, you know what? I retake all my previous statements. This is not a by 8. You cannot run this by 8. Abort. This is a by 4. So yeah, you can see here how that's hooked up. That's a by 4. This is a by 16. So yeah, there you go. That's important for you to know. If you're trying to do a SLI on this board, it probably won't work unless you do some special software things, because that's a by 4. This will work for any graphics cards because it's by 16, assuming you have the PCIe lanes, depending on your processor and its number of PCIe lanes. Okay, that's PCIe taken care of. Oh, and 1 by is 1 by. Now let's go on to all other small ports. So, oh fiddle. There are none up here. There's no buttons either on this board. Just to let you know, there are 0 buttons. Yeah, so let's get to the cool stuff. So this is a BIOS PH1, which is for BIOS edits and flashing, used by the companies. If you get like 99.995% of users, like retail purchasers, are not going to use this, so don't even worry about it, dog. It's fine. But it's there if you're super into BIOS edits for whatever reason. Actually, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, like, let's talk. I want to know more about BIOS editing. That's an unusual hobby. This is your USB 3.0 panel header. This is your front port header. Oh, fiddle. Wait, what did I do? Hold on. This is your front panel connector. This is your, actually, you know what, let's go from the other end because I know the other end better. So this is your audio, front panel audio. Quick thing to note, these are RGB control and power headers. There is also one up here for AMD fans or slash AMD coolers that have like that capability. So yeah, there you go. That's that. And then moving down, this is a TPM header. This is for a TPM module, which is interesting. I wouldn't expect this on a B450 Pro4. What it is that it's for security. You can add like a little chip that just like pretty much plugs into this like a header with this specific header, and it'll actually activate like hardware security systems on this board that'll be stored in this chip. So it'll have like encryption keys and passwords and really cool things. So this is more for like big company usage, and I'd be surprised to see this board like in company usage. Like, it's obviously kind of a gaming board, I guess, but yeah, it's cool that this has one of these. Not that most consumers are ever going to use one, but for like big companies, OEMs, that kind of thing, this is an option. So yeah, TPM header, there you go. This is a COM header. What this is for is like legacy like peripherals. So pretty much it looks like a VGA port, but it's missing a row of headers and it's slightly smaller. That's what the COM port is. It's for like really old peripherals. So if you want to, you know, get crazy with some of those, there you go. USB 2.0 header number 1, USB 2.0 header number 2. Hey, and this is my favorite little header. This is the clear CMOS. So you don't have to pop out the freaking battery every time you want to clear it, which I coincidentally might have to do a lot, maybe. You can just use like a paper clip or whatever. It doesn't have a jumper, which sucks, but oh well. Yeah, that's just a clear CMOS jumper. It works great. I like it. This is a This is a like a case open feature pretty much, so or something to that extent. So pretty much how this works is that you can enable with this jumper the option to detect whether like the case has been opened. So in business application, as an example, if somebody tries to get into the computer to like grab some stuff or nab a hard drive, this will like send a signal to the computer to make really loud noises like now, and it'll start making really loud noises. So it's really like just like an alarm. It's like a door alarm. Now this is your front panel headers. Self-explanatory. You use them for regular computers, and then this header is for like an older style of computer where you have like that little dinky speaker that comes off and you can attach to the motherboard, and you have like a power LED. So, and then this is your regular front panel headers. But yeah, that's the headers on this board. I don't think we have anything else to cover. The rear I/O, if you want to know, there's like 2 USB and a PS2 combo port up here, VGA, DAVI, that's HDMI, that's 3.1, and then Type C, 3.0s, more 3.0s, and an RJ45 Ethernet jack, and then a 3 audio. Obviously it says audio. I think it's like a green, a red, and a blue header on the back. So yeah, that's the entirety of this motherboard. Other than that, there's really nothing else to cover unless you want to get super technical, which I am not qualified for. If you want to go see something like that, Buildzoid will probably have a different motherboard, or yeah, you can see what he does for specifically VRMs. This is the full size micro ATX ASRock B450M Pro4. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will try my hardest to figure out answers, because I want to know everything about this motherboard. And something might have not come to me in my head. So, before I do go, you know what? I was going to show you. I'm going to open an image file. I'm going to go to my pictures. So let's go with this one. I'm going to show you this. This is a quick picture of the VRM heatsinks for both the SoC and the V-Core VRM. They are identical, so there should be no confusion. Completely the same, and this is how they're organized. So you can see this is a side shot that you have like these arms that extend out, and then 2 smaller arms that come out here, and then like a thin section connecting here. Push pins. They're both like push pins are all like diagonal from each other on the ends. You have a thermal pad. Yeah, so these heat sinks are not like extraordinary by any means. They're still extruded aluminum, but they are actually okay extruded aluminums, as in they have some sort of finnage. Air can get through them. Yeah, so these are the heat sinks. They're not ideal, but they're ideal. They're not excellent, but they'll work fine, especially if you give just some if you just give some airflow to the to them. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that has been the ASRock B450M Pro4. Please let me know if there are any questions you have. I really want to know. That's about it. Yeah, goodbye.